Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. My name's Destiny. We do book things here, and today, or tonight, whatever it is, whenever you're watching this, I thought we would discuss my cycle 1 wrap up. I have read 14 books, and that is actually a great number for January. I can't remember how many I read last year. I'll have to double check. I'll put the number on the screen. But I have read 14 so far this year, and I am excited about that. I finished one whole series, and yeah, let's just get into it. So, the first thing I finished this year was The Sundown Motel by Scarlett St. James. It is her debut novel, and if I could give you any recommendations, I recommend going into her books and reading them in publication order. Not because they spoil one another, but because you will enjoy them more. I read them backwards of publication order, kind of like I did Broken the Best Possible Way. That author, which I cannot think of her name to save my life, I read her books backwards. They were still good. They were still so good, even reading them in backwards of publication order. But I feel like with not Scarlett St. James, Simone St. James. Yeah, I'm having one of those nights. I feel like her novels, because I read The Book of Cold Cases and then Broken Girls and then The Sundown Motel, it kind of ruined The Sundown Motel for me because there was a few plot holes and a few things that just didn't hit right that she learned and grew in writing her next books. So I ended up giving this 4.75 stars. I would definitely reread. I still enjoyed it for what it is. But I can see how she has progressed as a writer do that. Next, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I apologize. There's something hitting my air conditioner out there, and I can't tell what it is. It's not my dog. I'm wondering if it's the cat. I read 5 Freida McFadden books, and I think that Freida McFadden writes a twist very fucking well. And honestly, it's not a twist you will see coming. You think once you get like 30 or 40% through, you go, I know where the hell this is going. I know where this is going. And you don't. You really, truly just don't. I read One by One, Never Lie, The Coworker, The Inmate, and then The Perfect Son. The most shocking out of all of them is Never Lie. If you have never picked up a Freida McFadden and you're interested in what I'm talking about, and like I make these sound really good, especially with the fact that I read 175 books last year, and I think Never Lie will be my favorite thriller I have ever read. I have to say Never Lie is the one to go with. It is something that even the most seasoned thriller reader will not see coming, because you're just like, what the actual? And then the way she ends it, if you have read that book, what the actual fuck? I gave it 5 stars. Like, I still honestly sit and think sometimes, like somebody will say something at work, and I'll just like literally zone out for a second and think about the ending of that book and go, holy shitballs, man. What are all these about? I'm raving about this one, but One by One is about a group of friends from college who decide to take them and their spouses, and they go on a retreat weekend. And as they're getting ready to go to the resort, they end up, the car breaks down out of nowhere. Even though it's a new car, it breaks down out of nowhere, and so they're having to walk the next like 4 or 5 miles to the where the retreat is, to the resort is, to try to get help because their cell phones aren't working, all of that. They start dying one by one, and you're kind of trying to figure out who's doing it, why are they doing it, what's going on. Never Lie is about a couple who get stranded in a snowstorm when they go see a house that's up for sale, and our main POV finds a bunch of tapes where the doctor has recorded the brain just stopped working, where she's recorded her therapy sessions with her patients, and she has gone missing. So now she's listening to all of these to see if she can find out where the therapist went to. The Coworker is probably my least favorite out of all of these. It follows exactly what it says. Our main character goes into work one day and finds out that her coworker, who's always on time and is very diligent and like almost OCD about when she gets to work, what she does, like she follows a routine to the T every day, is not at work, and she is late, which never happens. She has a meeting, was supposed to be scheduled with the manager and Nicole, which is our main POV, and she doesn't show up for it. So Nicole goes, okay, something's definitely has to be wrong. She would never do this. Like, she is very communicative. She's almost OCD about it. She would not miss this. And when she goes to her house, she finds blood covering her living room, and she is nowhere to be found. And now the cops think Nicole killed her. And that story goes from there. Next is The Inmate. And The Inmate, to me, the ending was a surprising one, but it might be the most predictable. The predictability of that one is pretty high compared to the rest. This one follows a girl who goes home after her parents pass, ? She ends up back in her hometown, living in the house, her home, her childhood home, and excuse me, it's her and her son. They end up moving back, and when she was a teenager, her and 5 of her friends, 4 friends and her boyfriend, so 6 of them walk into her boyfriend's home, and only 3 of them make it out at the end of the night, and 3 of them are dead. She has always stuck with the story that her boyfriend did it. Her boyfriend was choking her out. It was her boyfriend. And now she's starting to question it all these years later, about 10 years later, and the story takes off from there. Excuse me. Lastly, I read The Perfect Son. This one follows a mother who she believes her son is either a psychopath or a sociopath. I can't remember which one. And the girl he likes at school goes missing, and she is over 100% convinced he did this. The cops are pretty convinced he did it, and now she is trying to convince him to tell her where the girl is and just let the girl go so he doesn't get in trouble. And the story time takes off from there. That ending I didn't see coming. I could have bet you $100 I thought I knew where it was coming, and I would have been out $100 because I did not see it coming. So the One by One I gave 3.5. Never Lie got 5 stars. The Coworker got 3.75. The Inmate got 4. And then The Perfect Son got 3.75 as well. Then I finished my first physical read of the year, and that was Pestilence by... I can't read the author of this little bitty picture I have in my book journal, but I ended up giving it 4.75 stars. I was not as interested in the romance as I think we were supposed to be. I was far more interested in the world and why are the horsemen back? What is going on? What is God? Like, those conversations had me very interested and had me kept me reading more than the romance between Sarah and Pestilence. I will be going to read War, Famine, and Death because I am interested, especially the fact that we get to we kind of get to learn a little bit about the brothers, just a little. I want to know more. I need to know more, and that ending just had my mind kind of blown. Like, okay, so we got here, but it obviously it wasn't going to stop. There's more books in the series, but it was a little shocking, and I'm excited to get into it. Next is the series I finished. These I will say I physically read. Uh, well, it was a kind of a 50-50 shot. I physically read it, and the Kindle read some of it to me, so I'm counting as physical. Um, and that is The Beauty of the Street Love. I read all three of them. I am mad how the third one ended. I did give them 5 stars, but I feel like we left our characters in a precarious place. And I understand being done with the plot that was driving all of this forward, but by the time I got to the third book, I wasn't reading for the plot. I was reading because I had fell in love with these characters and these brothers and all the crazy shit they get themselves into. If she wanted to write a book of them just literally living their everyday lives, I would still read it because I fell in love with the characters themselves. This one follows Shamar. Shamar goes to visit her brother, and when she goes to visit her brother, she's like trying to get him out of the street life, trying to get him to get on the straight and narrow, and it doesn't work. The Kinsey brothers come in his house because he has robbed their trap house, stole their drugs, and the Kinseys come to get their drugs back. And before her brother can get the drugs back, he's like, you know what? Nope. You're going to have my drugs back to me because I'm taking your sister. Yeah, I'm taking your sister. And so when Ty, am I right? I get the brothers mixed up some. When Ty takes Shamar, she drops him off with Trey. Trey is the older brother. He's a little woo-woo. And he unalives people that's what his job is. He unalives people. And drops him off with her and it's like, hey, don't hurt her because I need her back. She's my leverage. But have fun. And Trey's like, what the fuck are you doing? And so for the whole first book, he calls her Mouse, which I absolutely love. Shamar is like scared shitless, like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm going to kill my brother. And then her best friend, Cyan, I could be saying her name wrong. I'm so sorry if I am. The way the Kindle pronounced it was totally wrong, I know. Approaches the 3 Kinsey brothers and are like, you're going to give me my best friend back. And basically, in front of the whole neighborhood, basically, like, threatens to unalive them. And they're like, you need to walk away now. You need to walk away now. So she walks away. And Ty, the one that kidnapped Shamar in the first place, breaks in her house and is like, Shorty, you're mine. Like, you're going to end up with me. I'm not giving you a choice. You're going to end up with me. And he thinks that her boyfriend is in the other room moving around and stuff. So he goes at the door with a gun, and when the door opens, it's not a man. It's her daughter. And Ty is in absolute love. Like, he turns to a big teddy bear, falls in love, and is like, oh yeah, you're mine. Definitely, if you're looking for Touch Her and Die vibes, this book definitely has Touch Her and Die. Literally Touch Her and Die. Absolutely just Piece of Resistance. I absolutely love them. I literally read all 3. And then she has one that is a spin-off with the little sister, the Kinsey sister. So there's 4 brothers and 1 sister. And the third, so basically like the middle child, that I'm hoping to read. Next, I finished Crescent City finally. I finished my reread. I am giving it 5 stars again, of course. I think this time I read it as if Hunt is the bad guy, and I can see it, but I don't see it as well. I think there is an unresolved storyline there that we really weren't picking up on, that I think may come up in the third one. I really enjoyed it. I annotated the hell out of it. I swear the book is like more fluffy than it ever was because I annotated it. It took me forever, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm not going to go too much into depth because when I'm filming this third one comes out tomorrow. If you want to know more about House of Earth and Blood or Crescent City at all, just open TikTok or YouTube. I mean, I bet everybody's making videos about it, so I'm not going to discuss it too much. Next, I finished One of Us is Back. I gave this 3.5 stars. I honestly did not enjoy this as much as I was hoping to. When I read One of Us Was Lying, I absolutely loved it. I ate it up. I thought the mystery was really good. Did not see that ending coming. It was really good. I usually enjoy a YA thriller. When I read the second one, I remember being like, okay, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't overly good either. And then this one I did not enjoy it as much. I feel like the mystery wasn't there. Like, I didn't care about the mystery. Not nearly as much as I did the first time. And it may just be because I'm no longer the target audience. I've been slowly moving away from YA, I've noticed in my own reading. In the past year, I've moved slowly away from YA, and it has to be a specific YA novel for me to get into it. So that could be it. I really didn't care. It wasn't bad. So that's why I got 3.75. I didn't hate it. There's nothing wrong. The book didn't do anything wrong. It was just, it wasn't my cup of tea. And then lastly, I have two more. So the next one I finished was The Gilded Ones. This one I'm giving 5 stars. I absolutely freaking loved this. It was so good. The Gilded Ones is an West African inspired story following a girl who, on their 16th birthday, they're all cut, basically. They all are made to bleed, to make sure they bleed red. If they bleed gold, they are killed. And when she goes to go for her ritual, it's interrupted by death streaks, where are these giant creatures that are killing people, and she's able to control them. Her eyes change color. They immediately know that she is not pure, and they start trying to kill her. I don't want to say the creature she is. So her species, best way to put it, did not be killed. That you have to find their final death, and so they drowned her. They dismember her. They suffocate her. They try multiple ways. At one point, they even burn her. I know this is very violent. I'm sorry if you're triggered by these kind of things. But they try many ways to make her die. They end up killing her 9 times. And she does not die. She keeps going into what they call the gilded sleep and coming back. After that 9th time, it's been about 2 months, who she calls White Hands, ends up coming to get her, take her to the capital to train her to be a soldier. Is let to be known that the Emperor has decided to make an army of these girls, and that once they are done, if they help them defeat all the death streaks, that they will be purified and they can go back to their normal lives. And that's kind of where the story starts. It's really, really good. It is a trilogy. The second one is out. The third one comes out this year. So if that interests you, I highly recommend picking it up. It is YA, but it didn't really read like YA like my previous one. So I just think One of Us is back. It's just not my cup of tea. Lastly, the one I'm probably going to spend the longest talking about, and I apologize if you don't want to hear about it. I completely understand. You can move on. I thank you for watching this far. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on my next one. Or see you in my next one. But I finished Harrow the Ninth. Holy shit, man! I read this physically, and I let my Kindle read some of it to me while I was at work. And this book is the epitome of roll with the motherfucking flow. If you think too much into it, if you try to get too nuanced with it, if you try to have a brain in your head while you're reading this book, you're going to be confused and fucking hate it. I almost DNF'd it 9 times. 9 separate times. But I was on the walking pad and was like, you know what? I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to act like I know nothing. I know nothing about this series. This is a whole new series. and I'm going to go through it. And by the end, I'm still going, what the fuck did I read? I'm still at, what the fuck did I read? Like, I understand what happened. I understand all the little nuances that were there and how brilliantly it was really done. I think I'm going to end up giving it, let me see if I rated it right after I was done. Because usually I fill in the book journal. I did. I'm going to change my rating though. Because I don't agree with what I wrote down now that I'm like, I've reflected on it some. I'm going to give it 4.75. And when I first finished it, I gave it 3.75. Because honestly, I hadn't processed it yet. I was still very confused going, what the fuck? But now that I've processed a little more, it's a 4.75. Harrow the Ninth, if you don't want spoilers, leave now. Harrow the Ninth is what I would imagine it would be to lose your mind. So, if you have finished Gideon, you should be fine to watch this. If you don't care about spoilers, then this will be fine. So, at the end of Gideon the Ninth, Gideon has passed, and Harrow absorbs her soul to become a lector. And that's where that book ends off. When you pick this one up, you're kind of just thrown into Harrow's world. It is told as if you are Harrow. So it talks about your body did this, and you're having issues moving your body. And like, it is very much told in that way. So it's very jarring to read. And Harrow is losing her fucking mind. There's no other way to put it. Harrow is losing her fucking mind. And you're just thrown in there with her with no explanations. There's no like narrator explaining anything that's going on around her, or this is real, this is no. There is none of that. It is just you are thrown fucking in there. And by the end of it, it makes plenty of sense. And you're still like, what the actual fuck? Like, you walk out of the second book with more questions than you walked into it with. And I think that's very smart, because it's going to make you pick up the third one, because you're going, okay, I understand the events and how we got to where we're at right now, but where the fuck are we going? And it was so brilliantly done that it reminds me of Bunny by Mona Awad. If you like Bunny, you would like the Locked Tomb series. Because to me, Bunny, you don't understand what's going on. It's never explained to you what happened or what really it is you just read. It just is what it is, and you have to accept it and walk away. That is very much what Harrow the Ninth is. You have to accept it for what it is and walk away. And if you can't do that, do not read this book, because you will hate it. If you need everything spelled out for you, if you need a book that is going to handhold you through it, this series is not for you. I mean, Gideon isn't for you. Gideon, I feel like, is the same way. Gideon the Ninth, you very much had to roll with the freaking flow and just accept things for the fact they are and be there for it. If you like weirdly speculative fiction, you would like the Locked Tomb series, because, like I said, there is a plot there. There is a very clear plot, but you do not know the plot until the end. And like, I still, thinking back on it, there's still some pieces I'm going, okay, but where did that connect? Like, I really want to own all of these so that I can write in them and like do a deep dive, kind of like I've done for Sarah J. Maas with Crescent City. I don't want to say why I've done that, because I don't want to spoil anything, but I have started like nitpicking those books and like trying to connect the pieces where they, and let them fall where they need to lay, and like try to figure out the bigger picture here. These are definitely books that you can do that with and like try to figure out the bigger part. I have started Nona the Ninth, and I'm even more fucking confused than I was in Harrow the Ninth. It's much less of a, I don't know what perspective that is, but it's much more or less of a, you're doing this, is that Nona did this. Like, it removes the reader out of it, and back to where you were with Gideon, where you're just watching the events happen and you're like a bystander watching everything happen around you, instead of being in the body of your main character and experiencing it with them, kind of thing. So Nona is interesting, and I I started it on accident before I finished Harrow because I thought my Kindle was opening Harrow. I didn't open Nona. And so I was at first going, what the fuck am I reading? Like, what the fuck has happened? Now that I have finished Harrow and started Nona, I understand. And it's smart. It is so smart. And I have questions. I am 30% through. I have questions. And I don't think I'm going to get them answered. I have honestly made peace with that because of the fact that I know there's a fourth one coming. I made peace that I'm not going to get answers, but now I want to know if there's a glossary for Harrow and for Nona. If there is a glossary, I would love to read it. But it's smart. The way it is written is so smart and beautifully done. Beautifully done in a way that challenged my brain more than I think it ever has been challenged in reading, and makes me question. I don't know if Gideon, if it's a YA series, I can't remember if it's YA or if it's adult. I personally think I would put it in adult if I was classifying the stories. But holy crap, closing out the cycle with Harrow the Ninth was, it's beautiful. And then starting my next cycle with Nona the Ninth and like finishing the Locked Tomb series as it stands right now in publication, I think is a very smart thing to start my 2024 out with, because I think if I waited any longer in the year, I wouldn't enjoy them as much as I do. Because usually winters when I want a book that I'm just like feel like I'm sinking into and spending more time with and just kind of lounging in my reading, where summer and fall months I'm trying to devour as many stories as I can. I have a very vivacious is the word I want to use, appetite for my reading, and I'm not wanting to spend time, like I'm not trying to slowly devour them. Like I want the story, I want to enjoy it, but also like, what are the words I'm looking for? I want to enjoy the story. Don't think I just want to go and I read for relaxation, I read for fun. But during the winter, I just want to like live in the books I'm reading and like have a very atmospheric book. Where in the summer, I just want to be told a story. I want you to take me along on your little vision and tell me about all your plans and how everything plays out and all of that. That's the kind of book I'm kind of looking for. Not one that I want to dissect and like live in and figure out all the bits and pieces of. So reading both Harrow the Ninth and Nona the Ninth now is perfect, because if I had waited till the summer, I wouldn't have enjoyed it. I would have DNF'd both of them. But yeah, there it is. That is everything I finished in January. In cycle 1, I'm gonna get better at that. In cycle 1, it has been a wild ride. I think it was interesting starting the year off the way I did. What's your favorite book of the last cycle, the last 4 weeks? Let me know. Mine, I actually chose The Beauty of this Street Love, the first one. I loved it. It whetted my appetite. I am looking for more urban romance, so if you have recommendations, let me know. I will be picking up more from that author. I didn't say author name because I can't remember right now. I will be picking up more from that author as soon as I get a chance. I just haven't had a chance because I've been living in the Locked Tomb series. But yeah, let me know, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.